This video is going to have a little bit different format because for the first time I'm going to be talking at my boyfriend off camera. I'm going to see if that makes my videos have a little bit more natural flow because I'm actually talking to somebody rather than talking to a camera. However, I have to admit, talking to the camera is probably a good practice. My boyfriend and I, we've talked about how it can be therapeutic to go back and watch your videos, and maybe it's even more effective than having a therapist because you don't have to actually go to the office and explain every little detail or like everything about the story that is bothering you to somebody else. Like, you can actually look back at the video and see what's bothering you. And I gotta say, that's really what happened with the last couple videos that I made, where I was talking about the different medications that I was taking and my health problems. And really, I got to the point where I decided I was just gonna quit all my medication. And I also decided to start this new diet at the request, actually, of somebody that left a comment. So I am happy that despite my small audience on YouTube, I actually did get a comment from somebody saying that I should try the clear skin diet. And that started me on a pathway to eating just potatoes, sweet potatoes, kale.
And it took our love-hate relationship with Nina and Miranda to a whole new level.
Yeah. So
We're not a fan of their comedy. The diet we support, but we support not the diet. Comedy.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, so I did listen to the book. I got the audiobook. So I did, in effect, read it, and the principles are so basic that I'm surprised I didn't think about it beforehand or know about it beforehand. But I mean, the basics are, if you eat a lot of oil, the oil is going to show up on your skin, and the bacteria that forms acne lesions feeds on oil. So the less oil that you eat, the less acne that you will have, and the less fat content, really, in general. So I am currently eating no seeds, no oils of any kind. And so far, it's really worked for my skin. I had it written down here, I stopped all my medications, I think pretty soon after my last video that I uploaded. So December 4th was the day that I stopped basically all my medications. So since then, I mean, my skin looks clear. I gotta say, it's positive on that front, but it's also positive on my digestive issues. I did actually see a doctor, as I mentioned in my last video. I did see a doctor, and I got the test results back, and a referral to see a gastroenterologist, which I've decided to not do, because when I called, they basically 100% wanted to do invasive. They didn't even want to have like a consult with me. Like, the doctor wasn't gonna talk to me, and I wasn't gonna have an office visit prior to going in for a colonoscopy. Like, a colonoscopy was gonna be the first line of defense. And
yep.
If you can look up, I really do agree with what Dr. McDougall says about colonoscopies, and seeing what happened with my father throughout, and even my mom, who doesn't have any digestive issues. They just do it as a routine procedure, and it's really invasive, and, it's really not.
It's damaging and does risk, and what can you find?
Yeah. No joke.
Cancerous polyps, sure. For the vast majority of these conditions, it's a pleasing illusion that there's something visible to the naked eye they're going to discover.
Yeah. The cool thing about having this YouTube channel is, I know it's only been 2 months since I stopped everything. I can keep, keeping track of how it goes, and hopefully I continue to stay at this level. I gotta say, it was really difficult to...
Wait, you have improved. You haven't mentioned that here. I'm just saying, you should give some sense of the improvement.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So since you started Nina and Miranda's diet, how much better has your whole life been?
So much better. And I gotta say, even, my mental health has improved, and, I was causing a lot of problems in my relationship, and, I really had a mental breakthrough, in my opinion, when we were on this trip, to basically say, I have to be responsible for my own behaviors, my own actions. I can't let myself be controlled by my moods, and I do wonder how much of my mental thought process has been affected by medications that I've been on in the past, behaviors that I did
Right.
you know,
But like
problematic things that I did in the past.
Behaviors can become comfortable under medications. Like maybe it's not necessarily a direct cause and effect.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I can relate to that, sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I did mention it in one other video, but I can be more explicit now. Like, I did spend time. I took antidepressants at the, recommendation of just my primary care physician. I didn't see a psychiatrist. I just came in and said I was feeling hopeless about my career situation, and
which was hopeless.
Yeah, at the time I was feeling very hopeless, and he asked me, do you experience this every day, or is it once in a while? Because the premise of it was, if it's once in a while, then I'll prescribe you Xanax. If it's every day, then I'll prescribe you Lexapro. And so I took the medication that was every day, because so for, I don't know, a period of...
As opposed to the possibility that you feel hopeless because your life is really hopeless. So
Yeah.
I know a lot about what was going on in your life at just that time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things to feel hopeless about.
You're right.
Rational response to your conditions.
Yeah. So, and I also, for a long time, smoked marijuana. And that really played a role in my development of my thought processes, how I handled my emotions, stress relief. What did I do to handle stress? I relied on medications or relied on drugs, or I was never a big drinker of alcohol, but for a while I was drinking alcohol.
When we first got together, I mentioned this to a friend today. Again, it's not necessarily a direct effect of the drugs. When I was first with you, I can remember saying to you, stand up straight, make eye contact with people, when you should initiate this guy, you should introduce yourself. And I can even remember saying to you once, do you know your mouth is open? You'd kind of stand there hunched over with your mouth not hanging way open. It's you look like you're stoned. You weren't. You'd already quit marijuana before we got together.
Yeah, but those things don't go away.
Right,
yeah.
the behaviors were normalized. And
yeah, right. No, it's true.
Behaviors and attitudes can be the thing that's hard to
It's all true. Yeah, and
they're indirectly formed in the first place by the drugs. You can't say there's a real simple cause and effect there. But there's still cause and effect. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I think part of my attitude that has to change is I've been thinking about this a while. Instead of constantly feeling like I'm a victim of circumstances or victim of health issues and stuff, instead to take the attitude that I am the protagonist in my life. I have to be the good guy in my life. I have to be the person that I want to be. And I think that's a huge change in my life that I'm still working on. So because you really have to take control of what you are feeling and not let yourself be consumed by the emotions that you're experiencing and just immediately reacting to the emotions, or reacting to what somebody says, rather than thinking about what you're going to say, realizing that your actions and what you say out loud is permanent. You can't take it back. Even if you think in your mind I'm a nice person, or I'm a good person, I am an honest person, or stuff. If you do things that are bad, if you do things that are mean, if you say things that are not true, or if you lie, what you do reflects who you are as a person. Even if inside you feel like I'm a good person.
I think one of the weirdest things about exactly what you're talking about. This is what all Buddhists will recommend meditation for.
Yeah.
I think the irony is that meditation is really irrelevant to the type of self-discipline and moment-to-moment awareness that you're talking about. Yeah. And it's a very hard thing to teach. It's a very hard thing to learn. It's a very hard thing to make people aware that they lack, right? What you're describing now is gradually over a 2-year period, you kind of just started paying more attention to what kind of person you are and how you think and how you act and how you feel, and how feeling is related to how feeling links to knowing and doing and stuff. But I really don't think you get that by sitting in silence, staring at a wall, which is one traditional form of meditation, is wall gazing, as it's called.
Yeah.
It's and of course also in Buddhist philosophy that's not really what it's supposed to do. But yeah. It's extra ironic coming out of my philosophical background, because I think it's this hurdle a lot of people have to get over.
Yeah.
But
it's every day practicing what you actually believe. And even in the past couple weeks, like, I've been stressed out about things, and I had to be like, okay, no, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If I'm momentarily stressed out, or if I'm momentarily annoyed by something, I need to think of things as a bigger picture and realize that these problems are pretty insignificant, or even if they are significant, there's a way to approach them that is respectful of the other people around you, that is respectful of yourself. Like, you know, why would it be better for me to indulge in my emotions, to indulge in, say, like, you know, I'm so annoyed, I'm so frustrated, or whatever, like, rather than just saying, you know, I'm an adult, I can handle these situations. If I can't handle it now, when at age 26, when will I ever be able to handle these, you know, things and that every other adult has to deal with, you know?
Yeah, I think too, you know, a big powerful thing in our culture was the image of the Vulcan in Star Trek, where it's like, what you're saying, the alternative to having emotions is allegedly to be this robotic, cold, logical person, and it's not.
Yeah,
like, all the time with you, I've said to you, like, look, like, feel sad, like, understand why you feel sad, I understand why you feel frustrated, but, you know, now that you have that feeling, and you know you have that feeling, what's next? It's not this. Like, now don't take these next steps, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that's the thing, too. And you see me, I mean, again, I've mentioned this, and it's happened a few times on camera. Sometimes when I'm just talking about political history, like, I break down weeping, whether talking about people being massacred, or the other day I was talking about a pro-democracy protester who was murdered by the police.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel it. And, like, you know, I could stifle it. I could stand there and but what's the point? I care about democracy. I care about history. Right. And I think it's cool to feel that, and even to openly exhibit, at least in these circumstances. You know,
I agree.
Yeah. I know I don't break down weeping in front of my daughter, actually. Just if my daughter asked me about democracy, like,
of course, all of these things
I'm way less emotional in that context or in a professional context. But sure, I think it's really cool to be able to feel that and even revel in that feeling. But well,
yeah, something that, you know, Isel has said to me in these conflicts is, you know, treat me like, even like with as much respect as you would a work colleague. And, you know, he's never seen me in a professional work, other than, aside from being a fledgling ESL teacher. That's what he's seen me as, you know, like, learning the ropes and, you know, not being that great at it. You know, that's what he's seen me. But, you know, he has not seen me in my professional work situations in which I have been professional, in which I have treated people with respect. But, you know, I need to be able to translate that into my personal relationships and be kind and caring and, like, actually loving to the people whom I love, rather than using the people that I love as, you know, whipping post, or like to be like punching bag. Yeah. Like, I'm upset and you're going to be suffering because of it, rather than, like, you know, and also, like, working to solve a problem together. Like, so many things that I've caused issues with in my relationship with Isel is, like, you know, there's a problem that we both can work on together. There's a problem that we both want to solve, or there's just some issue that comes up on my end, and if anyone is on my side, it's Isel. You know, it's my life partner, is my best friend, you know. So why would I treat him disrespectfully? And yeah, so anyway, a lot of these
but, like, so just to give, like, this is a totally harmless example, but it's a real one, and maybe some people in the audience can relate to it. But, like, you're angry because it's hard to find a bathroom at the train station. Yeah. And that's real. And again, I'm not saying don't feel angry. Right. But then why are you angry at me and taking it out on me? Mm-hmm. And my point is, I'm not just saying this because a lot of people live their lives that way every day. And it can be like an employer who's mad at the employee, or vice versa, or the mother who's mad at the kid. And it's like, look, that happens all the time. You're not angry for no reason. You're angry because you're frustrated trying to find a bathroom at this train station. But, you know, you're acting as though you're treating someone you love as a punching bag. Yeah. You're treating someone who's actually trying to help you and who sympathizes with you. Probably you're the only person in this train station who's on
Yeah.
your side.
Nobody
You're
else
making an enemy
else
of.
gives a fuck,
Right.
you know, like,
Right,
you of all
right.
people,
So that's real.
you do care, and you know, you have to value the people in your life who do care and are
And look,
actually.
and I'm not saying, see, maybe it's hard to be loving when you're upset because you want to go to the bathroom and you can't find a bathroom.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the challenge you have to rise up to.
Yeah, it's exactly when
nobody else is going to do it.
Exactly when you have to prove that you're a nice person, that you're a good person, or you're a loving person, is when you're in difficult situations, because it doesn't matter if like, you know, that isn't really that difficult of a situation. Okay, we're in France and we're taking care of your daughter, and I need to use the restroom at the train station.
Right.
It's really not that big of a deal, and adults should be able to respond to it.
Right. Or even you can even share with me that you're upset and frustrated. Like, you can share it with me, but don't like take it out on me. Don't
right. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So facing up to that is really important, and you know,
these are big life changes, but you haven't yet said how Nina and Miranda's diet.
Yeah, so the clear skin diet, it works, man. Like, I know the way that I went about it, like quitting my medications and changing my diet at the same time, it's really, you know, I did talk this through with my partner before I stopped all the medications, and he said, well, now you won't know whether it's the diet or whether it's the medications. But, you know, I gotta say, like, hormonal acne runs in my family, and I really think if I would have gone back to like an oily, seedy diet, I would have started breaking out. And I can't say I haven't had any pimples since stopping this. You know, I have had a couple, but they've gone away way faster. They haven't been like cystic acne.
Yeah, you look like a normal person. You don't look like a person who has perfect skin,
right?
But you also do not look like someone who has hormonal acne or cystic acne. Or
yeah, exactly.
Right. Yep.
And one thing that, you know, is important in their book is getting rid of oil in any of your products on your, and also in your hair, like your hair care products. My boyfriend does not relate because he shaves his head.
No, I do though. Look,
yeah.
I figured this stuff out when I was about 13, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And when I was 13, like, labeling food this way was a new thing. Mm-hmm. Like in Canada, the food, and it was like, I would stand there and be like, why would anyone eat a food product that's 51% oil?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why?
But I was about 13 and it just blew my mind. All that stuff. Yeah, rub oil on your face, all these things.
Yeah. Don't use oil.
You know, maybe it made sense 1,000 years ago in the middle of the desert. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are other cultural and historical contexts, but yeah, a lot of it really doesn't make sense.
Right, yeah, and I have had the experience now, the hair care products that I was using were, affecting my scalp, so I do have, some pimples on my scalp. I know it's gross, but I do, and I've switched my products and I've improved. Like, things are better. So I really believe in the principles. The diet works. I didn't think it would, for a long time, because I talked to dermatologists about it. I said, should I avoid certain foods? And, the only thing that they said, like, oh, well, dairy is often a problem. And I think dermatologists across the board do generally recommend not consuming dairy if you have acne. But it's not just dairy, it's all sources of oil and fats in your diet. And yeah, I mean, I gotta say, this diet is the real deal. If you have hormonal acne, really consider this diet and actually doing the diet. And I know, I am kind of an interest. I have a different perspective on food than most people in America that I've met. I don't.
For you, food is not fun.
Yeah.
Food is not recreation. Food is not about hanging out with your friends. Yeah.
I don't live to eat. I eat to live.
You do enjoy food, but
yeah. And this is coming from someone. We went to Los Angeles over the summer, and I made it my mission to try donuts. We were planning on becoming bakers at the time, so we were trying to look into baked goods, every vegan bakery. Right. So yeah, I've eaten and I also take the attitude I have eaten all this stuff, especially when I went vegan, and people were like, "Oh, how can you live without meat, or how can you live without cheese?" It's unlike Nina and Randa, I wasn't born vegan. I was not encouraged to be vegan or vegetarian at all growing up. I have had a lot of cheese. I've had a lot of different kinds of meat, and I don't at all I don't crave it at all. Like, even after I made the moral decision, or like after the switch went off, I was like, this is all disgusting to me. Like, I don't want to eat this. I remember the very, like, the first night that I decided, my ex-boyfriend, he cooked up sausages, and, you know, he had a plate for me, and I just said, like, I can't eat this. Like, it's disgusting to me now, even though, like, the night before I had eaten it, you know? So yeah, like, I know it's not the same ethical reasons for the clear skin diet. It's not like, oh, oil is unethical. I know that's not the case. But still, like, for my health, I've had a lot of seeds in my life, avocados. I've had a lot of nuts and peanut butter. I don't need it. You know, like.
Yeah.
And even if I do decide, like, in the future to add some of these things back, and see how they affect me, because, you know, that is part of the diet too. Like, seeing if you want to try to add soy back into your diet, if you want to try to add flax seeds back into your diet, and you can see if it causes you issues. But yeah, the diet really works. I am totally on board with it. Yeah.
I just say really, really brief thing. I can remember when I was a kid, maybe I was 11, something.
Yeah.
Heard about someone, it was probably a relative of mine, might not have been, who lost their legs.
Oh.
And I just thought, well, if I lost my legs, car accident or something, you know, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I immediately thought, well, I'd really devote myself to philosophy, you know, history, politics, studying books, because obviously I can't do much with my body. And I really thought about the dietary element too. It's like, well, you can't really get much exercise, so you'd have to eat this very strictly regimented diet and stuff. And then, of course, the question came to me, like, let's say I was 11 years old. It's like, well, why aren't I living that way now? Why is it that the thought experiment of how I would live if I was physically crippled is so much better, you know, ethically, but not just ethically?
Yeah, it's so funny. That reminds me.
And that haunted me. I mean, I started, already at that age, I started changing the way I live. You know?
It reminds me of, you know, because the Nina and Randa diet is basically McDougall diet, but even stricter, no seeds and no soy. Because of that, I looked at McDougall's website, and I was also interested about the digestive health issues for the McDougall diet. Does this help? And it really does. Like, I have experience going from, like, horrible issues to being like, it's no big deal. And I did these trips that I had to be on the airplane for 12 plus hours and through airports and all kinds of security lines and waiting around and stuff. And, you know, I did fine. It was great. And, I mean, things have improved even more since I got back from the trip that we were on. But, like, I just feel really, really positive about the diet. Anyway, okay, sorry. What I was going to say, what you reminded me of, because of that, I looked into some videos on the McDougall website, and there was this discussion of a woman who had Crohn's disease throughout her whole life, and she finally heard about the McDougall diet in her 70s, and she said that, you know, I am happy that I had Crohn's disease and found out about this, because now I'm living healthier. Like, I would not have found this diet if it weren't for my disease. So she's actually like, in this way, like your family member that lost their legs, like, I mean, this inspired them to live a better life. So oddly enough, that can really change things.
For people in the audience, don't wait till you're 70. Don't wait till you have a horrible accident.
No.
Stop and think about leading a meaningful life now and get your priorities straight. Yeah.
Another additional, like, because I was on this medication, spironolactone, for so long, I didn't realize that any of the side effects, and I don't know if it's also from this, I think the diet also helps. Like, I can tell, like, my nails are growing faster, like, I have, like, more hair growing in here, like all over my head, and, you know, I'm, like, I didn't realize my hair was kind of, like, thinner than it could have been, because, so, like, I mean, I know these are minor things, but it really is true if you're, like, having more, if like, I'm having better digestion, and I'm eating way more, like, protein-rich foods, like, you know, I'm having tons of beans, that's pretty much my diet right now, so I'm having a lot of black beans.
They can check it on
kale,
Instagram.
Yeah.
They want to know what you're eating. Link in the description.
This is true.
Good.
Anyway, all right, great. So, yeah, clear skin diet works, man.